Hey there, how's it going? I'm Brian Goulet of gouletpens.com, and today I want to give you a quick look at Quiver pen holders. So for some people, writing is very transactional. You know, it's just write it down, get it done, forget about it. You know, make a to-do list, throw it out. For other people though, writing is really more about finding inspiration. It's about seizing an opportunity that you're just kind of going about your daily life and you come across something that you just have to write down, and you always keep your journal with you on hand. You are the ones that I'm talking to with this Quiver pen holder product. Quiver is a brand that's been around for several years, and you know, I don't really know why until now our two companies haven't really come together. It's really anything in particular, just we didn't link up until recently. I got some of these Quivers in my hand, and as I started playing with them, I really kind of started to get it. I started to get what the appeal was. I've been reading about them online for the last couple of years and hearing some really good reviews. So Quiver is a company that's started out finding inspiration from Rhodia and Moleskine notebooks, and they really like to use those journals and just wanted a better way to carry the pens with the journal. They got sick of kind of losing the pens and not having a good way to carry them around. They make these pen holders out of pure American Napa leather, full grain hide, and they're made by craftsmen in old Mexico. There are two different types of Quiver holders. There's a single and a double. The single is a wrap that goes around the binding of your journal, and it holds the pen up against the spine. It has two elastic bands, one that holds onto the front cover and one that holds onto the back cover. You can put a pen that's up to about a ½ inch in diameter. That's about the size of a Montblanc 149. And you can put a pen of just about any length into it. I've got this Lamy Joy right here. Because it's open on the bottom, it just comes all the way through. The nice thing about this particular format is that the pen stays tucked away on the edge so that when you're carrying it in a backpack or a laptop case, it fits nicely next to other flat objects. It also fits better on some of the larger notebooks like this 6x9 inch Quiver Habana that may stretch the elastic a little more than a notebook that's slightly smaller in size. There's a couple of trade-offs though. The Quiver that is on the binding like this does get in the way a little bit when you have the journal on a flat surface. For example, if I take the pen out of here and I fold it open like that, it's not going to lay as flat as if it wasn't there because you have this little flap of leather here that holds the pen. It's going to get in the way a little bit. This is really going to be worse when the Quiver is brand new because the leather hasn't quite broken in yet. Over time, the leather is going to break in and it's going to get softer, and it's going to be a little bit more forgiving. It's not really an issue if you're going to be carrying the notebook around and using it on your lap. It's really just flat surfaces. And some of your absolute biggest pens might be a bit of a tight squeeze too, though honestly, if a Montblanc 149 can fit it, just about anything can. You may have to pull it out and slide it out just a little bit to give it a little bit of extra room, but the pen will be able to squeeze in there. Though honestly, I don't know if you'd want to carry a pen this expensive around in this thing, but you get the idea. You can fit the A5 single Quiver holder on the Quiver Habana like this one. That's about as big as you want to go. You can also fit it onto a Moleskine like I have here. You can fit it onto the Leuchtturm A5 size. I've got a white lines that'll fit. It'll fit on a Rhodia Webnotebook as well, right here. It'll also fit on some other ones. There's a black and red. Some of these notebooks I don't carry. And then there's some softer cover notebooks here, like I've got a Clairefontaine cloth-bound basic in 1951, as well as an Apica or Apica Premium. These ones will work. It's a little bit more precarious because the covers are flimsier, but that's okay. You just have to be a little bit more careful with it, that's all. It'll still fit on there just fine. The Quiver double pen holder is really a whole different setup. It's a single elastic band that's made to fit around the front or the back cover of your journal. You can position it wherever you want on the cover, but the closer to the binding you put it, it's really more ideal if you have a notebook with a more flexible cover, or if you have a notebook like the Habana that's a little bit larger in size. This is called the double pen holder, but it's really a double small pen holder. You don't want to, you won't be able to fit, you know, like two larger pens. I have a Mont Blanc 149 and a Jinhao 159, for example. These are two really big pens, and these are not going to both fit in here. I think that Quiver is not, you know, exclusively for fountain pens. They deal with a lot of, you know, smaller rollerball pens and stuff. So those pens tend to be thinner in general, and yeah, this is definitely a double pen holder for that. So, you know, you may have to be conscious of the size of pen that you're using. If you've got particularly big ones, Noodler's Ahab, and like that kind of stuff, you might have to take that into consideration. But you know, I've got a Pilot Stargazer and a Platinum Cool, pretty average size pens in diameter, and they'll fit in there just fine. I also like that this holder lays really flat with a notebook when it's on a flat surface. This is most often where I end up writing, and so for me, the flatter laying double holder works really well. You can see here when I take the pens out and I open it up, it's going to lay flat almost as if it wasn't there at all. You might notice it a little bit, but not nearly as much as you will with the single holder on the binding. You can also put more than one of them on the notebook if you really want to. What the heck? You can store as many pens as you want. I think you can fit 6 of these things on a Rhodia Web notebook. Of course, that's, you know, might give you a couple of weird looks, but if it's your prerogative, you can totally do that. The drawback to the double holder is that when you store it next to other flat things, other notebooks or laptop, something like that in your backpack or briefcase or whatever, it's going to be a little more obtrusive because the pen is sticking out on a flat cover. Especially if you've got a pen with an obtrusive clip, you may want to turn it to the side. That way you're not going to leave imprints and stuff on any other notebooks that might be next to it. And if you're storing more than one pen in this pen holder, of course, when you are pulling only one pen out and you go to write with it, the other pen is going to leave a little more of a hump there. But, you know, that's to be expected. These double pen holders also put a little bit more pressure on the cover, especially if you have it further out from the binding. So if you have something with a flimsier cover, it may bind it up like this. So you may have to take that into consideration when choosing what notebook to put it on. But that's where these Quiver adapters can really help. These things are basically just pieces of plastic, nothing too fancy. But the way that this thing works is you slide it in here behind the pen holder, and it just gives you a little extra firmness so that if you have a notebook with a bit of a soft cover, it gives it a little bit more of a backing so that it won't have the tendency to bend the notebook quite as much. There's 2 different sizes of these adapters. The smaller size will fit all of your normal A5 size notebooks. There's one that's slightly longer, and that one works really well for the Quo Vadis Habana. These things are going to be critical if you want to have a chance of using a double pen holder on any flimsier notebook. But honestly, I would say if you're in that situation, you're probably better off just using the single one, but that's really up to you. So there's a quick rundown of the A5 Quiver line. They have a couple of other products that I didn't cover here, but this at least gives you a pretty good idea of what Quiver is all about. If you want more details and more specs, you can always check up-to-date information on gouletpens.com. And if you like this video and you want more like it, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching today, and write on.